700 people burned. A decade of complaints ignored. And when a 79-year-old woman finally sued, the world laughed at her. This is the story of the most misunderstood court case in American history. And by the end of this video, you'll never think about it the same way again. Welcome back to Plain Verdict. Let's get into it. Here's what most people think happened. Clumsy old woman spills coffee on herself, sues McDonald's for millions, gets rich. End of story. Except almost every single part of that version is wrong. And the real facts, which we're about to walk through, are so much more shocking that once you hear them, you'll wonder how the public got it so completely backwards. Stay with us because the twist in this story comes in scene 5, and it changes everything. February 1992, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Stella Liebeck is 79 years old, and here's the first thing almost nobody knows. She was not driving. She was sitting in the passenger seat of her grandson's parked car in a McDonald's parking lot. She ordered coffee from the drive-thru and was trying to add cream and sugar. No cup holder in the car. She places the cup between her knees to remove the lid. The cup tips. The coffee spills. Now here's where most people stop paying attention, because they think they know what comes next. They're wrong. What happened to Stella in the next few seconds was not a minor inconvenience. The coffee was between 82 and 88 degrees Celsius. That's hot enough to cause full thickness burns on human skin in less than 3 seconds. Stella suffered third-degree burns, the most severe classification that exists, covering 6% of her body, including extremely sensitive areas. She spent 8 days in hospital. She underwent multiple painful skin grafting surgeries. She required 2 years of ongoing medical treatment. She lost so much weight, her doctors were alarmed. She was permanently scarred and disfigured for the rest of her life. This was not a coffee spill. This was a life-altering medical catastrophe. And here's the question nobody asked at the time. Why was McDonald's coffee that hot in the first place? This is the part of the story that changes everything. During the legal case, Stella's lawyers requested McDonald's internal records. What they found was extraordinary. McDonald's had received over 700 separate complaints about burns from their coffee between 1982 and 1992. 700 people. A full decade of documented burn injuries. And it gets worse. McDonald's own quality control manager testified under oath, in court, on the record, that McDonald's coffee was not fit for consumption when served because it was too hot. Read that again. Their own employee said their own product was not safe to drink. So why did McDonald's keep serving it at those temperatures? Because they ran the numbers. Their internal analysis concluded that the cost of paying out burn injury claims was cheaper than the cost of lowering their serving temperature across thousands of locations. They didn't fix the problem because fixing it would cost more than the human suffering it caused. That calculation, made in a boardroom somewhere, is what a jury of 12 ordinary Americans heard about in that courtroom. Before any of this went to court, Stella Liebeck did something most people don't know about. She contacted McDonald's directly and asked for $20,000, roughly the cost of her medical bills and lost income. Just her actual expenses, nothing more. McDonald's responded with an offer of $800. $800 for third-degree burns, for 8 days in hospital, for skin grafting surgery, for 2 years of medical treatment, for permanent scarring. $800. Stella hired a lawyer. The case went to trial. The jury heard everything. The 700 prior complaints, the internal temperature memos, the quality control manager's testimony, the full medical evidence of Stella's injuries. They deliberated. They found McDonald's 80% liable. They awarded Stella $200,000 in compensatory damages, reduced to $160,000 because they found her 20% responsible. And then they awarded $2.7 million in punitive damages. Not to make Stella rich, to punish McDonald's. The jury specifically calculated that figure as 2 days of McDonald's coffee sales revenue, the message being that a corporation that knowingly injures people should feel it financially. It was a deliberate, considered, legally sound decision by 12 ordinary people who had seen all the evidence. Here's what actually happened after the verdict, which almost nobody reports. The judge reduced the punitive damages from $2.7 million to $480,000, finding the original amount excessive. McDonald's and Stella then reached a confidential settlement believed to be under $600,000 total. Stella Liebeck did not become a millionaire. She did not retire to a mansion on a beach somewhere. She was a 79-year-old woman who suffered life-altering injuries and then spent years being publicly mocked by late-night comedians and politicians who never read a single page of the actual case file. She died in 2004 at the age of 91. Meanwhile, the story was weaponized by corporations lobbying for tort reform, laws that would cap how much money injured consumers can recover from companies that knowingly harm them. The people laughing at Stella Liebeck were, in many cases, the same people who would benefit financially from limiting your ability to sue when a company's negligence hurts you. So what does a 1992 coffee case mean for you today? more than you might think. The Liebeck case reinforced a critical area of law called product liability. Product liability law holds companies responsible for injuries caused by unreasonably dangerous products, regardless of whether you can prove they were deliberately negligent. The legal test is simple. Was this product unreasonably dangerous for its intended use? McDonald's coffee wasn't just hot. It was served at temperatures their own people said were unsafe to drink. That's the line. That's what makes it legally different from coffee that's merely warm. Every warning label you see on a product today, every safety standard a manufacturer has to meet before putting something on a shelf, every consumer protection that exists between you and a company that cuts corners on safety, these exist in part because of cases like this one. The next time you see a warning on a coffee cup saying contents may be hot, that's not a joke put there by overly cautious lawyers. That's a direct legacy of Stella Liebeck's case. Here's the plain verdict on Liebeck versus McDonald's. This was not a story about a clumsy woman who got rich by spilling coffee. It was a story about a corporation that ran a cost-benefit analysis on human suffering and decided the math worked in their favor. 12 ordinary Americans heard the real facts and disagreed. The public, fed a completely distorted version of events by media and late-night television, laughed at the wrong person. Now you know the real story. If this video changed how you think about this case, subscribe to Plain Verdict. We cover a new legal concept or court case every week in plain language. And if you have a case you'd like us to break down, drop it in the comments below. We read every single one.